Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala, with my lovely guest host. I'm so honored to have her back on the show, Miss Mandy Summers.
Like what? Billy
Like
went to go
what?
see Cher and left no all by himself, you guys.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Man,
I can't with him.
I really didn't take Billy for a share guy, but hey, I guess everyone has their secrets.
Right?
If he could turn back time,
If he could turn back time, he would have remembered to told you about this.
he would have. That son of a gun. But hey, you know what? This is great. We got a nice show. We've got a great guest. We have an awesome guest host. And without further ado, Mandy, why don't we introduce everyone? And I know many of you out there are probably familiar with this gentleman. He is an awesome creator, an awesome guy. He's been in the industry for many, many years, an inspiration. And everyone, please welcome Mr. Adam Post. Adam, how are we doing, my friend?
Doing great. Trying out my cell phone video today. Pretty
Yes. Yes, it's doing well. It's doing really good
cool. It makes
considering
my hands look gigantic.
what is it with being on a camera? See, mine do too. And I have really, really, really small hands, so it's really weird when
You
I
have
see
to
them
bring
on
them
camera.
back towards
Yeah,
your
it's great.
ears
Is that what
to
it
give
is?
everyone the full size.
It's
Of your
clobbering
hands.
time. It's
Yeah.
clobbering time. Like the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Well, it's great to be with you guys. You're a lot of fun. I know you guys a long time. It's fun to be on the show talking about College of the Dead.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So you've had your first campaign has gone out, and I do believe you have issue number 2 being ready to launch, correct?
Yes, the first campaign was fully funded. It was planned to ship in October of this year. It did ship on time. We delivered it internationally on time, except for one guy named Joe in Canada, and I didn't have his full address, and I had to finally chase him down. He did give me his full address. We did get his order delivered. So College of the Dead 1 is in demand on Indiegogo, still available. collegeofthedead.com will take you right to it. But now College of the Dead 2 is coming out.
Wow.
And, yep, it's completely done. And this time we're going to do it in full color by our colorist who's colored these covers. Some of them are starting to go around. You guys are starting to see. You have it in the background picture as one of them. My colorist, Farah. She's really good. And I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
That's how
So-
good she is.
Yeah, she's that good that she just goes by one name, like Prince or Cher.
Or Cher.
What's Cher's last name? We don't even know.
Boner?
Yeah,
Boner?
I guess it would be Bono, right? No, not
I don't know if she
Bono.
kept
Is
that.
that
Bono.
She just
Bono?
probably goes
Boner?
by one name. But
I don't
similarly, we're coloring the book now. We have 3 finished color covers for that book that she colored. We also have a 4th one by Narwhal,
Mhm.
the
Oh,
Earthbound
cool.
genius. Yeah, he's really good.
Yes.
And we may just do one more cover. We have to kind of see. I'm just loving how the covers are coming out. They're really coming out great. The interior's looking great too.
Yeah, they do look great. Now, how many pages is the second issue you're looking to be?
Second page, the second book is 48 pages,
Nice.
full color. It's written, lettered, and it's just a matter of finishing the colors.
Holy, you're pulling a BD Tartamel, aren't you? You're just going to keep coming out with these awesome books.
Exactly. It's a New York guy kind of trick.
And
There
I
you
guess that must be what it is, because yeah, you guys, y'all crank them books out, y'all. It's impressive.
Yeah, we're about that. It's like with my background in publishing, the idea of it is you got to put the book out,
Yeah.
and you got to you should always make it as great as you can make it. But there is always a time where it's like, all right, this book is done. Make sure people are going to like it. Deliver it when you promise,
Yeah.
and then put out the next book or books, as the case may be. And now I'm kind of making the jump to full color from black and white, having seen the success of College of the Dead. And I've been really happy with it. Actually, right now it's only $25 away from $8,500. It got up to $84.75, which was cool. And I set the goal kind of high for a new black and white book. Originally, it was $5,000 flexible. So flexible is when you have a flexible goal, people don't know if when you get the money if they're actually gonna ship the book.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked against it, I think, a little bit. But we got fully funded. We're shipping extra copies now, and for College of the Dead. That one's going to be in full color, 48 pages. I also have 2 other books I'm working on. One of them is actually completely done as well, because I've been working on this for a couple of years, so it's really a matter of finishing touches now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a mermaid's world. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, but with mermaids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, very cool. Really
That
well
sounds
written.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
You showed me a preview of some of that stuff a while back. I mean, it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I forgot about that. Yeah, thanks, man. I think I'm trying to get Javier to find some time, the artist for Call of the Dead, to do a couple of new covers for the mermaids.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone really likes his work, and I like his work. It's a kind of seeing if I can make that like a signature of what I do, is some of the Javier touch to it, some of the sexiness and some of the fun.
Oh, very cool. And Dakota asks, will you have a black and white option for the sequel?
That's a darn good question.
He says it goes with the whole horror theme. You know, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was happy to do College of the Dead in black and white in the first place. It was designed to be in black and white. It does make sense in black and white. I just kind of got talked into it after looking at some samples, because that's the thing, like, even as publishers, creators, you don't really know how something's going to come out until it's done. So you have a vision for it, but you don't know how everybody's going to, you know, how all the pieces are going to come together.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're doing it yourself, and especially though, like somebody like me that works with a lot of other people to make one book. But yeah, I think we will probably do a black and white version, because it's a damn good idea. I just have to watch it, because I don't want to get too crazy with making too many versions.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I hear you.
But I do want to do multiple. I have to do multiple cover versions. We have so many cool covers we can do.
Yeah. And JC Vaughn says hi. You were hanging out the other day.
Yeah. Great to meet him.
Vice
Great to meet him.
President
Good
of
man.
Gemstone Publishing. He was on the show a couple episodes back. He'll be back on again too. I love JC.
Cool.
Man. He's a good dude. Such a great guy.
Yeah, he's
very
got a lot of
knowledgeable.
different experiences.
Oh yeah.
He's very interesting to know.
He knows a lot of great people in the industry, and he's a vast amount of knowledge with everything. So Adam, I mean, real quick, for anyone that's tuning into this episode that isn't familiar about you, your work, just give us, I know most of us are, but just give us a brief kind of look back on, where you started in comics, how you got
Sure. Well, I started publishing when I was a teenager. My first comic was a comic book called G.I. Jackrabbits, which is it was a parody of G.I. Joe, where they were rabbits, and a couple of other animals in there. We had a walrus that named Sergeant Tusk that used a bazooka, and some fun stuff like that. So that was a really fun book. I wrote that. After that, and I was like 15 at the time, I stopped. That was back in, my God, like 85, 86, 1986. Then I stopped publishing for a couple of years, and then I kind of came back, and I stopped writing and just kind of worked on my ideas with other people. So I published a line of biography comics called Personality Comics. We did a couple of hundred of those comics, biographies of famous people. And then also Spoof Comics, which is some sexy superhero parodies. Back when it was weird to do like female versions of male characters, it hadn't been done before. That's when we were doing it. Mm-hmm. And we had some great artists working on those comics. Some covers by Adam Hughes and Dave Johnson and, Adam Polina, Francesco, a bunch of guys. Kelly Jones. And we did about 50 of those comics. And then published a line of color science fiction comics called Triumphant Comics. Chromia Man by Adam Polina was for the most famous one.
Yep.
And then a couple more years off, and then back again with Vampire Girls, which was a black and white series with these 3 female vampires that were pretty cool, and a few other titles kind of that world. And then I took a couple of years off of publishing again, started to develop some stuff for some comics to film stuff, and worked a little bit with Platinum Studios, the guys who made the Cowboys and Aliens movie. They took it from comics to film. And then got back into comics again, like around 2012, 2014, started to develop College of the Dead and the Mermaids and some other stuff. And then I just started making the books, and I figured, you know what, eventually I'll get them out through crowdfunding, and that took a while to kind of figure out. But then I made it and met the great Comicsgate gang and all you other guys, and that's where it's at. Putting them out now.
Very cool. I mean, what was,
Awesome.
I gotta ask you, man, so what really brought you into crowdfunding, though? Like, what was the first thing that made you be like, you know what, this is really the way I need to go?
Well, there's some guys who I know, you know, who a lot of us know, like Brian Polito, I know from back in the day, like from the early 1990s of publishing, and he was getting back in and he was successful. A guy who helped me start Personality Comics, worked for me for a couple of years, and then started publishing his own comics. This guy, Kirk Lindo, published a series called Vampirotica and some other titles back in the mid 90s. So I started to see some of my friends kind of getting back into it, and then we would just talk. And then it was kind of starting to become apparent that, you know what, direct to consumer is really where entertainment is at now. And technology permits it. Up until crowdfunding and up until high-speed internet for film and TV, like, it wasn't possible. But as soon as the technology's now become possible, you know, direct to consumer is where it really is at.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you feel like how have you embraced the whole independent community? Because you've got your streams going on, you're on multiple other streams. You know,
Sure.
you're obviously very well involved in the community. I mean, for those out there that are interested in getting into that, I mean, what kind of encouragement, what kind of guidance can you give them to be like, hey, man, you know, get involved in this?
That's a good question. And, you know, for me, when I got into crowdfunding College of the Dead, I knew that there were people that were crowdfunding, but I didn't know, you know, there was such a thing called Comicsgate. And then I found out kind of what Comicsgate was, and I was like, all right, well, as far as I understand it, these guys are just about producing good stories, good comics, without political agendas. And it's direct to consumer. So I'm like, all right, well, that sounds interesting. So I did not realize that it was such a close-knit community, that there were so many self-publishers that literally are just striving to help each other succeed. You know, they want to see your numbers go up. They want you to be able to ship your books. If you need a colorist, they want to recommend their guy to you. I had no idea that there was such a close-knit group of people out there who were just mostly congregating on Twitter, and you mostly would find them by hashtag Comicsgate. So I don't know if there are other people who are not into Comicsgate that go out of their way like that and really help each other. I'm told pretty much they're not. Like, they are around, and people aren't, like, it's not that they aren't friendly, but like in Comicsgate, you see you go on Twitter in the morning, and you say good morning to people in a bunch of groups that you're in, and it's a really friendly, almost like clubby, fun, family kind of atmosphere. You know, how's everybody doing kind of thing. So what I did was, as soon as I kind of started to discover what the vibe of this all was, I was like, all right, there are these cool people out there, but you would never know from the outside that these people even exist. I started a YouTube channel, and that's Adam Post Speaks. Everybody go ahead and subscribe. We got to get Adam to 1,000. It's the exciting thing to do. So I started a YouTube channel, and I had made some friends, and I would start to interview people. I did a video on there called How to Break into Comicsgate, or something very close to that, and just kind of talking about my experiences. So, like, the number one thing I was really surprised about was there are people that have all their little self-promoting YouTube shows. I have one of those small shows. Crowdfunding Comics is a comics show, obviously promoting crowdfunding comics. But there are a lot of guys with a lot of little shows, and just going on, my number one advice for those people would be, like, and then again, if you're interested in Comicsgate, you want to find out more about it, you just type hashtag Comicsgate into Twitter and just see what people are saying. Follow people, you know, interact with some people, be friendly with people, and just kind of see what people are saying, the projects they're talking about, what they're doing. But those people were nice as hell to me. You know, one guy invited me on his YouTube show, And actually, it was Clint from Sweetcast had me on first on his show. And then I think my timing just happened to be excellent. So I was invited on Comic Artist Pro Secret show on Ethan's show. And then Ethan Van Sciver, the famous, wonderful guy.
Yeah, he's like an up-and-comer.
And then,
right?
yeah, she's coming along.
Like an
Yeah, look, you know what?
YouTube
He's been
world,
he's very, very successful.
He's a very nice guy. He actually is a very nice guy.
Yeah, he is
really
very
is a
nice,
nice
and he's humble about it too.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a lot of respect for people that are trying to put out good comics.
Yeah.
If people are trying to play other kinds of games or power trips or stuff like that, he actually is not into that. No. That's when he starts to take on that persona or that character, the Caesar character, and he starts, straightening people out.
But that's like the fun part of it too, though. I mean, it is he's serious about independent creating. He's serious about helping out other creators. And but people also have to understand there's an entertainment factor to his show.
Yeah,
right.
There is.
There's a character that he's playing there, like the exaggeration of certain things is for entertainment purposes.
Yeah,
it's crazy what people think is real.
He always makes sure that he's entertaining.
Correct.
And he's very fair about who he invites on his shows.
Yeah.
And he also acknowledges contributions that people make. He's been very generous to me, very friendly with me about certain things. And at the same time, you have to know what your popularity value is and what your entertainment value is if you are going to be a regular on a show. For example, you must know of Cecil, the Amazing Man. Cecil is gold on anybody's show at all times. He's incredibly funny and incredibly entertaining. And other newer guys, too. Like even Wenger is a great guy. He's funny. Wenger is funnier generally than I am. He's sillier than I am. Well, I can get silly too at times. But the whole point is everybody kind of finds their own way. But as far as being on shows, there are like about 30 to 40 of these shows. I have a list that I share with people when they're on my show and I interview them. If anybody wants to reach out to me on Twitter, you can follow me at Comics We Love and ask me, hey, could you share me that list of shows? I'll provide a list of shows. Your show's on it. Mandy's lovely show is on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, but there are also smaller guys on it, and we can all help each other with this thing. It doesn't have to be painful, and people aren't trying to make money off of each other. It's just everyone just wants to help each other succeed.
Yeah, it is. It's a cool. It's cool to see all the indie creators getting together and doing this. Because at the end of the day, that's what everyone is, right? An independent creator.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Having been in the comics for a while. Through some different phases of it. In the 80s, black and white comics boom, which was like any black and white comic was selling a lot of copies. And then the universes of the early 90s, everybody was publishing a comics universe, and so on and so on. But it's never been like this, where there have been all these individual creators and everyone's trying to kind of help each other. And like if I need certain kinds of advice, if I want advice on story or if I want advice on my description for an Indiegogo project or pricing or a vendor, meaning like a printers, or if I want, I need help with a colorist to find a colorist or a letterer, you can always ask everyone. And back in the day, I mean, it's even like that in normal publishing. It's just not like that, where everyone's just kind of trying to help each other, not like jealously holding things back from each other.
Yeah, and that's what I think is the cool part of what I'm seeing out there. People sharing tweets, sharing stuff. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but was it Tampa too? I mean, always helping our shows out. Always, saying a shout out to, a list of shows or, not even that, like watch the shows, but follow the shows, subscribe to our shows. So, follow us on Twitter. And, it's cool that you just get, it's almost like really just random fans and people that like what we're doing and are helping just continue to do that, as well as other creators. There
are people like Tampa. There's another guy, Chris. I think it's Chris Evans, right?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans is a sweetheart too on Twitter.
Yes.
And Tinfoil Hat Nick. Whatever. I don't know what the tinfoil is, but Tinfoil Hat Nick is another guy that is a huge promoter of people. That guy is even out there like trying to remind people to sign up for mailing lists. Like, hey,
really?
Adam's comic is coming out, so you want to sign up for his mailing list on Indiegogo. Like, he's got like 5 of them that he runs a day or something. But yeah, there's him, and there's also Jack. And then there's the War Campaign guys who really also gave me a big boost early on. And the thing of it is if you're at the Comicsgate, for example, because everyone, like we're all self-promoting, self-publishers for the most part. Nobody just stands on the quality only of their work. It's what can you make and promote. So you find like there are 50 or so influencers, people of different sides. But I didn't know there was this whole layer of social media influencers who are publishers who have you on their show. And some of those guys are customers too.
Oh,
I kind of couldn't understand it, but I'd be invited on a few people's shows, and they'd be like, hey, yeah, well, Adam, come on the show, whatever. The guy go on the show, and then they back my book. And I'm like, you're paying me to be on your show? Like, what's going on here? But it wasn't that. It was just like, yeah, it's until you experience it, it's hard to explain. But just basically picture if you want to self-publish your own comic, and if you're interested in Comicsgate, then there are a lot of other people, even at the very small scale, a $3,000 campaign, a $5,000 campaign, or like I'm doing right now, an $8,400 campaign, up to guys who do a 6-figure campaign, 100,000, 200,000, or larger campaign. There are guys out there that are interested in helping you. But the thing is, you have to go in kind of pure of heart with it. You can be straight up with people, and you can be shy and not be comfortable with being on video. You just kind of get used to it after you do it sometimes. Right, Nile? I mean, you weren't always a famous personality.
No, nope. Just a
And Mandy didn't
Joe.
used to always go on camera.
No, I hated it. I absolutely hated any time I had to go on camera, and I sat there and played with my hair the whole time because I was nervous.
I remember that. The first time I had you on the show,
you were on Mail-In, and then I think you were going to be on my show, so I'm like, man, you have to be on camera. It's just freaking crazy.
Yeah, I hated it though, but now I'm comfortable, so now I don't sit there and do the nervous habit.
Yeah, you don't even, after a while, you don't think about it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It makes like the rest of your life pretty easy too, because you encounter things with like very little, very much ease now. Like I can from doing panels now, right? We were starting this. I got used to being on the air with anyone can watch what I'm doing, to then doing panels and talking in front of boatloads of people. Like now I do stuff and it's just like with ease. Like I could talk in front of like crowds, no problem now.
It is kind of crazy. That's true. Like, have you found the same thing, Mandy? And we developed public speaking skills.
Yes, and naturally, I'm kind of shy. I'm usually like, I warm up once somebody talks to me, then like 10 minutes later they're getting me. But at first I'm kind of standoffish and shy. I don't do that anymore. Now I'm literally like running up to people like, hey, how are you?
Yeah,
what you doing? So no, it's pretty much gone away, any shyness that I ever had.
Yeah, it is a big benefit.
Oh,
it is.
Huge. Now, actually, I want to, if you don't mind, I want to get your guys' point of view on something. I want to take advantage of you two right now. Because I like to talk about certain things, and there's questions I get in my mind and whatnot, and everyone knows, and I have to have my disclaimer, because there's crazy people out there. Everyone knows that I'm crowdfunding comics, right? And that's what I am. That's my brand. You guys are, you've got, Mandy, you've got your Comicsgate logo in the corner. Adam, you are a huge supporter of the Comicsgate, the movement. I personally think that for independent creators and stuff, it's a great supportive community. I also think there's groups out there outside of that name, if you want to call it, that help support even the people within Comicsgate, not in Comicsgate and whatnot, just independent creators doing what they do. But let me ask you a question. I always wanted this, and I want to take advantage of this, and I hope this question doesn't backfire on me. But do you think, with the way it's perceived right now, that it backs you in a corner? Like it's almost you're stuck in one basket, which is fruitful right now and filling up. But if something ever happens and you want to go outside of that, do you think that because of the drama that people who don't really have lives like to do, are going to end up maybe hurting longevity for creators?
Personally, my opinion is no. People love drama. They love watching drama. As long as the creators in Comicsgate keep, what we say, keep customers first, keep the bullcrap out of our books, give quality products, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think this movement is going to keep going, and it's going to absolutely blow up because there are so many original ideas
Well, I agree with that. And my take of it also is, Mandy and I are not major players in Comicsgate. Like, we don't just, no one, I don't think, looks to me or Mandy as leaders of Comicsgate. But although I was told I could be the new Edwin because I have gray hair and I'm old and stuff like that.
Jeez.
49.
Oh, man.
Schemes and scams all over the place. Scams. All right, so that will probably not happen. But I have been called the voice of reason. I get that sometimes. Mm-hmm. So my take on it is people are using the hashtag as a way to collaborate. The ones that kind of stick together are like-minded people. It's just kind of who we are. Mm-hmm. We really don't think it's appropriate for people to take their idea of what the future should be socially and impute that into entertainment. We don't believe that people who, call people that they aren't agreeable with Nazis or something, like, that aren't actually, like, bad people. Like, we don't believe in kind of letting the stuff that infects popular culture ruin our ability to tell stories, because you really can't tell a good story if you have a social agenda when that goes before that story. So you can have a point of a story be whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Like, we should all trust strangers. That could be a point of a story. And if that's like your major thing you're trying to push in life, or that there's only really one good gender, for example, like, or all men are bad, or whatever it might be, or all women are bad, you can make that the point of a story. It just can't be so on the nose the way that a lot of mass media is doing it now. Mm-hmm. So the Comicsgate kinds of people, it's really a seal of quality for customers. Just to know that, like, you're part of a tribe of people who are focused on producing our absolute best efforts for story and artwork. Mm-hmm. If that winds up being a thing in the future where, more people who have a Comicsgate get targeted, or let's say INDIEGOGO goes social justice warrior and says, hey, if you're associated with Comicsgate, we won't handle your crowdfunded comic. I mean, you could be discriminated against for anything. Mm-hmm. But you kind of have to be who you are. And especially, I know, seeing Mandy every day like I do in Twitter, this is just who the F we are. So we can't really pretend. This is more a labor of love, especially for us at the smaller end of sales, than it is a big profit career opportunity. I think in my business, I've learned a lot. I learn very quickly, and I always start small. That's like my thing. So now I have in the works like these three. I have multiple projects in the works. It is like a Vinny Tartamella kind of thing. There will be more projects for me. It will probably be a very big 2020 for me. But the point is, when it's a labor of love, particularly, you can't pretend to be something you're not. Mm-hmm. So anything's possible. It could limit one thing or it could limit another. But I think what's going to wind up happening is Comicsgate will continue. I think people will start to develop their own publishing imprints where they publish other people's work, because it's really difficult to find a customer base or a platform. Mm-hmm. But there are some of us. John Malin is definitely one of them. I think even Von Klaus with Monster MD is one of them, because he's such a potent salesman that he could put out someone else's work and it would probably do better than if they put it out themselves. Mm-hmm. So he could elevate a project with his platform. In essence, that would make him a publisher if that's what he wants to do. And other people will develop that way too. So I think company brands will start to come out more, and then you have more of your own customer base. I think we have to decide, like, look, I published College of the Dead, the first book, but I'm going to have several books. I also have the rights to a lot of reprint material from things I did in the past that people even currently ask me about. So I might wind up with 20 books over the next year. Mm-hmm. So that's going to need to be resident on a website somewhere. So there'll be business that comes from Indiegogo, and then business that comes from, the website. The business develops over time. Mm-hmm. But people have to be who they are. They really do. And that if they aren't going to do that, the work's going to be crappy work.
Yeah. So now I actually like what you're saying. So that's right, because you got your other licensed trademark stuff that you have going on. So I mean, are we going to be seeing some of this stuff in 2020? Are you hinting at this?
Here's what you're going to see from me in 2020. I moved it to February so we could do the book in full color and have it in the can, completely done before it's offered. I even want to have printed prototypes in hand so I could flash them around on camera for College of the Dead Book 2. Like, I actually could have done that with College of the Dead Book 1, and I kind of didn't do that until the end of the campaign, which was Antonio Bryce was like, "You should show that book. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, you're right. I have it. I should show it." But I'm going to do that with College of the Dead Book 2. So that's going to come for February. And then once those books ship, I'll offer the next campaign, which will probably be The Mermaids, a full-color 48-page book. Really, really well written. I'm really proud of that book. I did not write that, but I developed it with the team. And then I'm writing now with Professor Geek. I'm back to writing because I freaking love G.I. Jackrabbits. And I'm making it more than just a parody. Mm-hmm. I'm making it kind of a Ninja Turtles military book, like Ninja Turtles that work for a secret military organization. It's going to be really, really, really cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I knew Mandy was going to say something like that, but Mandy really means it. Like, I know Mandy's taste. Like, you're going to really like that, Mandy.
Yes.
So it's going to be another 48-page full-color book. I already have the artist selected, and he's coming to me. I know his work. I've known him for a couple of years, and we're going to start character designs in a week or two, but that'll come out after The Mermaids. And I'm also working on, and that's just going to be so cool. I'm having so much fun, like kind of getting back to writing. And I'm not ready to write myself, but Professor Geek is, he's an expert at writing and editing. He also does freelance editing. I could highly recommend him. If you want to see his YouTube channel at Professor Geek, he talks about writing constantly. Just absolutely love his work and his take on writing. Very, very disciplined. So that book will be next, and then I'm also looking at the collections of the spoof comics, because I have Adam Hughes covers that are just absolutely gorgeous. Jim Balint did a great cover for me. Kelly Jones. I have 7 Adam Hughes covers, and one of them we just recolored because it was black and white. But he gave it to us in black and white. He didn't have time to color that one, and it just came out absolutely gorgeous. Just freaking stunning. So yeah, that'll be yet more books. I also really like producing the making of books. So in College of Dead Book 1, we also did 100-page ashcan. For me, what the ashcan was the full script and then the pencil layouts opposite the script page. So it's 100 pages of script combined in layouts, and people actually get to see the layouts of the book. So that is that ashcan is still available on through collegeofthedead.com. But people really get to see how the book was made. And I've had people give me really good feedback on that. And it's great for people who like to see how comics get made. So I kind of want to make one of those for each of the books that we put out. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of going to mean we may have 5 or 6 versions of each book, each new book that comes out, between multiple covers and the making of book. But if you like the property and you like how it's presented, it's very cool to be able to have the option to see how the damn thing was made.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. And yeah. It's 100-page ashcan?
100-page ashcan.
Yeah, it's 100 pages because it's like 48 or so pages of full script for College of Dead Book 1 and 48 pages of layouts, approximately. And it's the pencil roughs. So you get to see, like, we have full script with photo reference. That's what Javier, the artist, was looking at from Stefan, who wrote the script for College of Dead Book 1 and Book 2. But that's the script he wrote with the photo reference for Javier to then go and draw. I have the book here. One second. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Am I crazy? Oh, you'll be able to see it probably.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that looks great.
Wow.
So you can see like the script there. It's got the photo reference and then the pencil layout. And yeah, it's just page after page after page of that. But you can actually see how the book gets made. And Stefan also is a professor, a writing professor. I love these guys that really know their craft. That's the best advice I can give anybody is make sure someone good is writing whatever your book is. Get a good writer. If you're writing it yourself and you're good, then good for you. But even if you're good, try to get an editor. You know, get someone who's recommended, like Professor Geek. If you contact Von Klaus, he'll recommend his editor to use. He has a hired editor he's paying. It's not a fortune what you pay these guys. And what they do is they really give a 3 or 4 dimensional perspective on your work. And they can really help. Because if the writing isn't right in a comic, you really lose a lot. You never get that engagement. You never get people really interested in passion in what you're doing. And for me, in working with Michael, Professor Geek, I'm able to kind of throw out some ideas and just be like, look, I just had this idea. I didn't think it through. Is it good or is it stupid? What do you think? And most of the time he says it's good. And I just remind him, like, you know, don't just say it's good because it's me. He's like, no, I'm not just saying it's good because it's you. It's a good idea. We just have to figure out sometimes if the idea makes sense with like what the theme of the story is. But I so highly recommend working with an experienced editor because you don't want to put all this work into a book and then, you know, have it be clunky. Even if it's your first book, it doesn't have to be clunky. So that's my advice. Or at least find other people who you can, you know, are recommended as like, all right, this is a good editor. How much do they charge? You know, I don't know because what I'm paying Michael includes a writing fee. But I would just suffice it to say, if you're in for a couple of $100, you know, you're going to get good feedback from somebody for something like that.
Oh, nice. Now let me ask you a question though. So with College of the Dead 2 coming out, when is that actually going to be going live?
That is a great question. It will go live in February. I don't have the date yet. I want to ask what some of the other guys are doing because I think we can probably sync some of our plans so it kind of makes sense that you know, we're not all releasing on the same day kind of deal. But February, I mean, to me, it's very important to me. It's like crucial to me to have the finished files ready to print, you know, and a couple of prototypes printed. So I think I can have that done by February 1st.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, I will know, and I'll definitely keep you in the loop because I want to be part of that. Well, you know, I probably should talk to you about scheduling something. Come to think of it, because you're gonna probably get hit with a lot of stuff in February.
Yeah, we actually are pretty much booked for February. What I'm doing is we're leaving like slots open.
Okay.
And so this way I have wiggle room in between.
That's smart.
Every now and then we'll goof up with someone, you know. I just had recently just someone we double book sometimes because we'll leave that open and then we don't fix it on the calendar.
Yeah, but that's just growing pains. You get that sorted.
Yeah, that's all. But it's the volume so much that I don't know if you noticed. We're doing I'm bringing more than one creator on the show now. And with the new wire,
sometimes.
Yeah, with the Wirecast. And I'll bring this up because I like my setup. I like what I'm doing. You know, a lot of other streaming software is really good, but I like to use my images that I make for the guests. You know, I like to have everyone have their own custom screens and to really highlight what they're doing, right? I can't do that with a lot of the other streaming software that's out there that is more easy to use than what we're doing. So we're making the I just knocked my headphones out of my head. That's the first time I've ever done that. That fucking hurt. So we're actually investing in, I don't know if you've heard of Wirecast. So it is a professional grade streaming, you know, like ESPN uses it, like a lot of larger things. So we're actually going to make the investment in the software. So now we can do that. I'll just send you a link now to come on the show. We don't have to go through Skype, import in, and do any of that stuff anymore. I can just bring it in and we can do it natively. So you'll still get that smooth quality of like something like a StreamYard or something, but I can still do all this of what I like to do.
Yeah, this is great. You have a great setup.
So, and then it'll bring in some, better corporation of things and whatnot. So we're really excited for that. And that's part of our new 2020 rebranding, which we've got this whole, people behind the scenes thing going on right now, just redoing stuff. And I don't want to give away too much, but we've got a lot of really cool crazy
Yeah,
things
well,
going on.
this has been a great year for you guys launching and getting familiar with it and having fun with it and having everybody on.
Yeah.
It's been,
Yep.
Mob Seat, Frank Amazing is real. Just gonna let you know. He's a
yeah.
real
Well,
person.
we've seen Frank Amazing.
He is real. I've heard him, and I know that he really does exist.
He has a Twitter account. He's got to be real.
Yeah. You guys
yeah.
you guys seen Frank Amazing, right?
Yeah. It's sort of an after show thing, I think.
Yeah, he'll pop in like after show when he's here.
I don't know that I've ever actually seen him. I've
Really?
just heard him like go, "Hey, Mandy, how you doing?" from like to the side over there.
It's like on Home Improvement. He's a neighbor that just peers over the fence.
Yes, like Wilson. You just see the little eyes.
That's it. But and Adam, man, you had a time with the Tooch recently, right? You were hanging out Black Friday.
Yeah. Billy reminded me. That was really glad he did, because he and I don't live far from each other, and Billy does local store signings on Long Island probably every 6 months or so. And he reminded me he's doing one like one town over from me in Wantagh. I live in Massapequa. And we went over there and met him up at the Comic Book Depot, which is a really, really great shop. It's been in business like 20, 25 years here in Long Island in Wantagh. And Alan runs that shop. And Billy's like, yeah, let's get something to eat after. So, yeah, we got to sit down and talk a while. It was real interesting. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And Vaughn was there. Jeff Vaughn was there.
Yeah.
And a couple other guys.
Did
really
John
nice
Brolia
people.
go out with you guys? Did John go
What?
out? John
Who's that?
was there, right? John Brolia?
No, I think he had to go.
Oh,
He
did
was
he?
there. And I decided, like I said hi and bye to him. I've met him twice now. So you can hug Billy all the time. It's very normal to hug Billy when you see him, obviously. But I think me and John are going to be ready to hug the next time. That's what I told him. I said, our next time we will hug. he seems agreeable to that.
He prefers
So,
just
hope
the
that
gentle
worked out
caress
for
of the
us.
cheek. No hug, just a gentle caress
Yes,
of the cheek.
just very gently.
No, I
That's all
think the
John
hugging
likes.
is going to work with John Broglia.
He's
a
an
good
amazing
artist. It's good to see him successful.
He is. You know, I actually really, when I first started seeing his work and stuff, and I know Billy was a really good friend with Darwin Cook, but I mean, you look at a lot of what he does, and it's his own style, but you see a lot of Darwin Cook's influence in John's work.
Yeah, Darwin was someone that I never got to work with, unfortunately. That just the timing was never there. Because I've had a lot of covers or like bits and pieces of, like Jimmy Palmiotti did some stuff for me too.
Yeah.
So there've been a lot of great guys who've done like some bits and pieces of things, but Darwin Cook's work was really just fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely a loss for the industry, or
And,
just the community.
Nile, you heard about the Marvel Comics leak from Diamond, where they leaked out they had 2,000 accounts.
I actually haven't. No.
You haven't heard of it? So that was going on, I think it was last week, Mandy. You heard about that.
I haven't. What happened? Or if I heard about it, I don't remember it.
Well, here's what happened. So Diamond had a data accident, and they sent to 200 of their comic book store accounts all of the orders for the month from all of their accounts for Marvel Comics.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that.
Apparently they have 2,400 accounts, and like 2,000 of them are traditional comic book stores, which is kind of unbelievable because there used to be, minimum 10,000 comic book stores.
Yeah.
It's a lot less comic book stores, incredible amount, lot less comic book stores. And the numbers are not so good. They're really not.
Wow.
But the thing of it is that's why I look at the crowdfunding being the future is like, it's just technology. It's like as publishers, in the 1980s and 1990s, if we could sell direct to fans and make it viable, you would do that. If a film company could make movies and get people to subscribe and get the movies directly from the film company, of course they would do that.
Yeah.
When video stores first came out and then got popular, that was the technology. The technology was the videotape, and it didn't make sense for every individual to buy 10,000 movies to keep as a library, because, you know, you'd keep them at the video store. They had the 10,000 movies. You just pay them every month to have access to it. And that was the technology then. So just as technology improves, it makes it more possible to serve one customer at a time, and to serve them, you know, in a custom kind of way. And particularly, it's what I would not have expected. Again, it's absolutely shocking. And thanks to everybody who's listening, or listening and watching, who's Comicsgate, who's helped me and who helps other people who are aspiring Comicsgate people. I can tell you it's always worth it to help people. Anybody that I've done something for has done it back for me 5 times. You know, and I'm not lazy. I go out of my way to help people. But it's like you get paid back so many times over. I'm sure you could say you'd easily say the same thing, Mandy, right?
Yeah.
You just show somebody a freaking kindness, and like all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, how can I help you back? And like they go out of their way to figure out how. But the point is, what the technology is allowing is I don't need a marketing manager anymore. Like I had a marketing manager at the publishing companies in the early 90s. We had someone that was a full-time publicity person. You know, we had a couple people that were salespeople. You know, then you have all those people working in an office and you're paying for all that overhead. The thing of it is if I have a question about marketing, I have better experts that I can ask for free, my fellow publishing guys. You know what I mean? So you really you have an access to talent and expertise, and it's within the production part of making the comic, the art, editorial, but it goes absolutely way beyond. Today, guys, we're talking about, well, who recommends who for printing trading cards, which is a very big deal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you want to know that if you're going to print trading cards, people are paying extra money to get a stretch goal to get those trading cards. You want to know they're going to get a good trading card, you know, and that it's like a reasonable amount of money to spend to print it. Well, how are you going to find out? Well, you just ask your buddies. So you don't need a purchasing manager the way maybe you would in a normal publishing company to go order sample. It's like you ask someone you trust; they'll tell you.
Yep.
You know. So
now what would you do though? Like say like your book does get really big, right? So you know, Adam Post is now really growing in the independent scene. Do you do what some of these big hitters are doing? And you know, these guys are, you know, making it big through crowdfunding, and then they're basically like, all right, I've done everything through here. Now I am going to get it into the comic shops. I am going to get it through Diamond.
I'm going to burn them all to the ground. No, I'm not. Yes. Yes.
Is that still an option for you in the future? Would that be something you'd still be open to?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I actually have on a to-do list. It's funny you bring it up. I want to share some of my business experience with some people because a lot of people just tend to do what someone else does. And whether it's pricing your shipping and crowdfunding or your format or your price, and it is good to copy other people, but at the same time, you kind of have to know what works for you, you know, so that you can keep your promise and so you can get the next book out. And actually, if you want to make it a hobby, you make it a hobby and you do one book in a year. But even one really successful book, like a $50,000 or an $80,000 book, that's not really a business. You know, it's not enough revenue. It's not enough activity. It's not enough to satisfy your customers if you have a brand. So if you produce my zombie comic or whatever, so we do $50,000 on the next book. Well, it's fine, but people don't want to wait 2 years for the next College of the Dead book 3.
Yeah.
You got to get it to them in a timely fashion.
Right.
So, or they're disappointed, and and that part of developing a brand is it's a promise. A brand's a promise. You don't want to disappoint the customer. So to answer your question, a business model is different from a business plan. I know you know, Nile, because I know you have a business background, and I'm sure you know too, Manny. I don't know what your business background is, but a business model is different from a business plan. I have no idea.
Oh,
but a
Mandy.
business plan.
Not even a smidge.
Fuck do I know? Anyway, so a business plan, you know, starts with, sure, you do direct to consumer with crowdfunding, but there are a lot of, first of all, there are other direct to consumer outlets like a website. And, you know, there's Shopify.com, which provides a lot of resources for people to have an inexpensive website with a lot of benefits on it,
Mm-hmm.
And ways of marketing and collecting money. And, if you're serious about building a business in publishing, you have to think about like, all right, well, how many books can you put out? What ideas do you have? What are your costs? What kind of schedule can you do it on? And, where do you want to sell them? So would I want to sell books to shops? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with, having a different version of the books, selling
Andy's
to comic
taking
stores.
notes.
There you go.
No, I was writing a message to slide over to my husband to tell him I was hungry and he's going to have to go get me something to eat.
You better damn well do it now. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with, obviously, when I look at stuff like this, so I look at selling to shops this way is, well, there are some people that are selling just to shops and they're at least breaking even.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at what Brian Pulido has done very successfully, and he wasn't the first, but it's fine. He does it very successfully, is he'll launch a book through crowdfunding and then sell the book maybe instead of in a 48-page trade paperback, he'll sell it in 2 single comics.
Yeah.
And then he'll go back and he'll collect it again and sell it to shops.
Mm-hmm.
And then he still sells it through his website.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it makes sense to be able to do that because, then you're also doing and selling to shops is you're exposing people to your project or your brand that otherwise wouldn't have a chance to see it. Mm-hmm. And then if they get to know, say, College of the Dead, and they picked it up in a shop, then they might be able to go and, join a mailing list, go to the collegeofthedead.com website and see, oh, wow, the new College of the Dead is coming out, in a couple of months. Let me back that campaign. So it does make sense to sell to stores. I think that it does make sense, though, to kind of understand what the landscape is in selling to stores. You have to always look at this kind of stuff as a break-even proposition when you get started. But then when you understand what works and doesn't work, that's where you can kind of figure out how to make a profit. But I particularly like to let people know, like, one of the things that Diamond Comic Distributors does is they will sell you advertising to promote your comic, which might work very well for some people. But just being a new publisher and buying a full-page ad in Diamond Comics previews, it could cost $3,000-$4,000. It's not necessarily going to have results, and it's not their responsibility to make that ad work.
Yeah.
So you got to be really careful when you're spending money, and don't assume that just because it seems reasonable and you're spending money that you're going to get a good result for that money. Yeah. Because it doesn't work that way. Business is not fair. You have to figure out as cleverly as possible how to at least break even. And then when you get out, you see what you were right and what you were wrong about once you're in business. And then you can kind of adjust course and figure out how to make it profitable. But you got to try to be very careful about spending the money and also making promises to anyone who works on your book. You have to keep them. So be very reasonable about the promises you make. And then you got to be careful about promises you make to fans, whether it's shipping on time or the quality or whatever it is you say you're going to do. You got to deliver it. Because if you don't, it screws you so much in the future. Yeah. You damage your reputation, and everything is harder to do in the future. Plus, it's also the nice thing to do. But still, like, you want to create momentum, and you do that by, like, living up to expectations.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to get a bad name or a bad rep,
Yeah, I mean, I've done it in the past. Like, when I was a kid, we had a lot of publishing imprints. In Personality Comics days, maybe 10 different publishing imprints with all sorts of different comics. We were doing, like, a lot of different kinds of ideas. And, a new number one would always kind of sell. But it's like you never build momentum if you just kind of make money on one book and then you throw out another book and you throw out another book. Mm-hmm. At least, like, I've seen people gone crazy with multiple cover versions. There's some publishers that look like they only do like 4 or 5 versions of every single comic they do. And the covers aren't even all striking. They're just different. And the problem with that, I mean, at least they have customers for that. But obviously there's problems with it. They're not really reading the books. They're just kind of collecting them. But, I mean, at least there's a market for it and people kind of see what they're getting. It's kind of okay. It's just better just tell a great story and hook them.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's really good advice, Adam. Really good advice, and you know, and that's what I see. You know, and another thing too is like when you start off doing this, I mean, it is literally a labor of love, and you have
Yes.
to, you know, you're not going in there being like, oh, cool, I'm going to start this, and I'm going to have a $75,000 campaign, and you know, I'm going to spend 30 grand, and I'm going to buy a new car and get this and get that. It doesn't work that
Yeah,
way. It does
it
not work
does
that
not.
way at all.
It's not. There's not
It
a fit.
can. If you
I've
have something
tried it.
amazing, it can.
I actually tried it with Triumphant Comics. Like we paid a little bit too much for some
Mhm.
of our budgets because I was trying to play. I was like 24. I was young. I was kind of like, well, I mean, maybe we should pay these rates because that's what other people are paying, and we pay it. But the thing is, the numbers have to work for you. You have to make sure the numbers really work, and you make sure they work by asking advice to people that really know what they're talking about, and talk to people at your level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking realistically, you've got a book that's like, all right, it's a smallish book, maybe in a 5,000 to 10,000 range, like mine. Then you know, you could talk to me about it. You know, but don't. And you could ask other people for advice that are bigger name people and stuff like that, and get their advice. But you really want to figure out like, well, what do I have to do to fit into my like niche? And then there's nothing that can. Once you get started, there's nothing that can stop you, as long as you just keep your promises.
Yeah, and Mandy, I mean, what have you seen? Like now, you have your successful campaign, your book. You know, what do you think is the, let's see that. 'Cause I'm looking at some stuff in the chat here. I mean, what do you think is appropriate amount of variant covers?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, that's
I
a
got some
Mandy
food
question.
in her, man.
Um,
She's dozing.
I went with 3 covers total. I know some people say the more the better. Like with Starblades, he has a ton. And then some people say don't overwhelm. So I think it really, I wish I would have not went with 3 just because it's a whole new thing to have to figure out when you're printing. So, because you need so many of this one and so many of this one. So, but yeah, I think that's really personal preference. Whatever, floats your boat. Me,
My advice about number of covers and really all your choices, you really have to legitimately be out of your effing mind excited about what you're doing. Now, I didn't always accomplish this because, again, with me publishing comics, I would usually get excited about an idea, and then I would go to my writer and be like, come on, let's do this. This is going to be freaking great. And then we would kind of do it, but it would get offered in a catalog. I was never talking to customers. I wasn't doing shows promoting it. If Mandy's excited about doing 3 covers and she loves her covers, then and she can talk about it that way, and she can just connect with her project like that. You do what you're passionate about doing.
yeah, that is true. Like all of mine came just like, okay, the one that Simon did, we were just on a stream. I think it was like Doodle and Chill, and he was like, all right, we're going to do Mort the Wizard today. And he drew it, and it was so beautiful. And I was like, can I use it? And then Peter, same thing with him. He was like, all right, I'll draw you a cover. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my God. So yeah, for me, it was more of a, holy crap, these are amazing artists that are like helping me with my campaign. So yeah, honestly, if I would have had at the time, if I would have had probably 5 more people draw me covers, there would be 5 more variant covers on there because I just love everybody, and the fact that they're willing to do that for me and take time out of their day and their lives to sit there and draw these amazing covers. So yeah, I probably would have kept going if I could have. I'm glad I didn't, but I would have back then. Guaranteed.
How many covers did Billy do on this new sheet?
He did, I think 7. He did 7 covers, right?
I just saw Pete say that Cecil has 48 variants for cash grab.
He's doing 48 variants?
Yeah, for cash.
I took that as an exaggeration.
I don't know. Was it an exaggeration? Because that sounds like something Cecil would have. There's no doubt in my mind he could have got 48 people to draw him covers.
Oh,
no doubt.
He has 48 pieces worthy of covers, like all that Betty Bright Eyes, like that pinup art that's been done of him.
Yes.
But yeah, he could get 48 covers, at least in a week. But I don't know, with his printing, that probably a little bit to manage.
Yeah.
Well,
But
some of these variants, though, also though the cover, like the books are of different quality too. Some are like metal covers, some are different, holofoil, all these other things. So you have variants, but that variant may be a more premium paper, a more premium cover book. That's also a more limited print run.
Right. Now, I will say, if this is anybody's first campaign they're doing, I recommend the fewest amount you can. And maybe one variant, just to get your foot in the door, get used to the printing, get used to shipping, get used to everything, and then maybe if you feel comfortable, then on your second campaign, start adding some more variants to it. I would start. I would not jump in so much on campaign one. I would tone it back for the first campaign, because there's a lot of little things that, like, as a first time campaign, thank goodness for Vinny, because when it got time for printing, I was like, okay, who do I use? And John Malin told me to use I think it was Print Ninja. Is that who he usually? But John Malin he's not trying to print like 200 books like I am. John Malin's printing thousands of books. So the prices are quite a bit different for me as to what it is for him printing. So start first campaign, start small, and then build as you go. Then start building that momentum. And then once you got your printing down, your shipping down, you're good. Hell, throw 41 variants on there. It doesn't matter. You know what you're doing.
What I was just thinking too is like,
maybe not 21, but
21.
But you know what, Mandy? Did you also notice that as you were doing it? Because I noticed this as I was doing my campaign. I did the College of the Dead regular book, the Making of Ashcan, and the art book, which was one panel per page, 240-page book, I think, a lot of pages. But I could kind of tell, like, I could have probably added this, or I could have added that. And you kind of know what's missing for next time.
Yes.
Right? So just by doing it, like Mandy said, keep it simple and manageable. Don't worry about leaving money on the table. Like, just at least try to break even and be sensible about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep your costs under control. Talk to some printers in advance. It was harder on Mandy. I mean, this company she's talking about was a printer. The name is MixAm, I believe, MAN. Not Maxim, but MixAm.
Yes.
Well, in any event, you can contact any of us and we can get you the name of the printer. But they have a cool printing price formula, like a little calculator on their website. So you can kind of look at different costs and stuff and estimate what format you want, color, how many pages, and what it would cost, even including shipping. They're very cool with that. But the point is, if you can get these resources in advance and know this information in advance, then you're really know what the heck you're dealing with.
Yes.
Another thing I was thinking of too, because kind of like what you were talking about, Mandy, is like, and I guess that's something to say about growing your brand, building your social media, and all this is now you're meeting other creators, you're doing things, you're collaborating on streams like this. Next thing you know, on that stream, someone may have just drew you a cover, or you have a conversation where someone agrees to do something, and 99.9% of the time, those people are coming through with what they're saying they're going to do.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Not even just that. I'm just thinking right now is you could even have that image on something else. You don't even have to do a variant cover. Maybe you decide to do, all right, well, maybe that person's going to, maybe you do like a postcard sized image or something, someone can hang in their, collector's space, or maybe you do decide to do like a trading card or something, and now you have that image from that person. So there's so many different things now. So you could keep your variant images down, right? Your variant covers, but you now may be able taking that networking you're doing and that building up you're doing, and take those creations from other artists and use it for other things. Maybe that goes on a pin or all this other stuff. Something
it
to
could
do
be
to make
even
it
just
enticing.
A pin up or a back cover or whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Pete did some art for me for a bookmark. So I added, a bookmark to mine, and it's amazing.
Peter Gilmore is awesome.
He is amazing.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, that is what I would suggest. And don't on first campaigns, don't tell everybody what you're doing right away. Like, say some of the stuff for stretch goals. Like, if you know that, hey, I'm going to want to do a bookmark for my book, wait until, figure out the money, your funds, and then wait until you've made enough that you can legitimately go through with the printing and all of that and add it as a bookmark. You don't have to do necessarily a variant. Add it as, you know, I wouldn't say like a coffee cup because those are heavy to ship. But yeah, like, I know some people have done little stickers. I looked into doing, I'm not going to do it for this campaign, but my next one, the stick-on tattoos. Like, you can have those printed and put one of those, and it will, you know, just find fun, you know, little stuff that you can use all of that art for. I mean, and yeah, just find fun little stuff that fits your scheme of what you're doing.
Oh, you should do like tongue tattoos, like the zebra stripe gum.
So cool. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Did you see that? It's like sugar. You put on your tongue, and you got the zebra there. From the zebra stripe. The gum that tastes good for literally 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, like 10 seconds is all you're getting out of that gum.
That gum has a weird texture. Have you ever had it, Adam?
Zebra stripe gum. I think it's been a while, but yes.
Fruit stripe, I think it's called. That's
how the heck how do they stay around? They've been around a long time.
They're still around.
Because that 2.5 seconds is the best.
Yeah, it's a good 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's really good. And
all right, I have to pick some up.
Yeah, then you just have to, you know, throw that one out and get another one.
I just keep piling them in, and then you get this weird texture in your mouth. And then all of a sudden you have no flavor, but you're so intrigued by the texture in your mouth, at least for me.
Yes.
And I'm like, you're still chewing it to the point where you're like, oh my God, this thing's like turning into something weird. I think it grew like a soul.
Yes.
They probably figured that out during testing, and they're like, well, no psycho is going to just keep putting gum in his mouth. Don't worry about that.
Psycho right here. I'm like driving.
They're probably like, you know, there's going to be one freaking guy who out of Connecticut or something like that that's going to do it.
With all that poisonous dye and putting tongue tattoos on.
I used to do that all the time.
So we advise not to do that.
They do it now with fruit roll-ups. Have you seen the fruit roll-ups that do it now?
No.
Where you lay the fruit roll-up on your tongue and it like would do a unicorn? I mean, there's different ones, but the pack I have has unicorns.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. Just more ways to poison the children.
Yeah, they like to do that.
We're not just poisoning their mind with great comic books. We're poisoning their bodies with ink that they put on the comic books for fruit roll-ups.
Yes. Maybe we should talk to Fruit Roll-Up about printing.
There you go.
They can give us some ideas.
It's a new stretch goal reward.
Yes. Wart fruit roll-ups.
Fruit by the foots.
Ooh,
I will say one thing for people who like maybe are a little shy and they just kind of want to get involved with at least like the Comicsgate crew. So what I would suggest for that, and it works really well, is you just type hashtag Comicsgate into Twitter, see whose projects comes up, see anything that strikes you, and just retweet it. It doesn't matter if you have 3 followers on Twitter. Anyone who you retweet, if you retweet me, I usually will see it. And I'm always like, oh, that cool person, they retweeted me. Who the heck are they? And then you kind of people get to see you and get to kind of interact with you a little bit. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to talk to me or, you know, talk to anyone. You could just retweet them. You can like their posts. And you can just kind of follow them on Twitter. A lot of them will follow you back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, you know, some of them have YouTube channels. So you can subscribe to their YouTube channel, see what they're saying. But just lurk around in the background like some sort of creep. You know, be shy if you want to. Or if you are more assertive and say, hi, hey, it's good to meet you. You have a cool project. Mm-hmm. You can compliment people on their project. Be honest, you know, if you think it's cool. And like, hey, I really like the coloring on that. Whatever it happens to be. But just hashtag Comicsgate in Twitter if you're interested in that. And just see what people are doing. You know, you'll see my project. I'm sure you'll see Mandy's project there. You'll see a lot of other cool projects. It doesn't have to be just Comicsgate, but I'm just saying, like, I know there's a lot of people with our same kind of vibe where we're always happy to meet new people. We always appreciate it if you're retweeting us. Some of us, like, if you, like, quote tweet our thing. So if you're, like, you see one of my things and you're, like, retweet it or you retweet it with a comment at the top saying, hey, you ought to check out this comic. I usually thank every person that does that individually. Even Mandy, like, we know each other a long time. Like, hey, thanks, Mandy. Like, you know, in all capital letter. because I really appreciate it, and a lot of other people do it too. I see.
Oh yeah, definitely. If I see someone mention anything, always, even if I miss it and it's a day late, I always say thank you. And
Yeah,
some
you
of them,
thank them.
I was actually thinking about this, and feel free to take this idea if you guys want to do it. I reached
Steal
out
it.
to some of these people, and I'm like, hey, have you ever been on shows? Like, I almost want to have a show with a few of my guests, just being the people that are out there helping promote what everyone's doing.
I think that's a really good idea.
And,
I think that's an awesome idea.
like Ty reached out to Tampa, but he's like, I'm in, I forget what country he says, and he says English isn't that great. Actually, I don't even know if it's a he or a she. I don't know. I keep saying he, but
it's a he.
It is a he.
It's a he.
And he's just like, my English isn't the best, so I probably wouldn't, but thanks anyways. But I think there's all these great supporters out there, so if they want to get their face out there or whatnot, do it. But I do have another one of my questions while I have you here.
Nile questions. Brace yourself.
All right, and what's your thought on this? So why do we see so many creators though? They won't show their face. They don't use their real names. I mean, if you're part of something, then be a part of it for who you are and what you're doing. Why hide? If it's what you think is right, why hide? And again, I don't want to start shit, and I'm not trying to.
No.
I'm just curious, like what's your take on that?
Man, who the fuck is this guy? Only kidding. My answer to that is there are people that are worried because there's a couple things. Some people are just plain shy, or they think they're fat, or not pretty, or something. I am not shy. I am pretty, and I'm not fat, but
very pretty.
So thank you. Well, it's obvious.
Not
but
fat, but you look huggable.
Oh yeah, I can be squished. So no, but the thing is, some people just like there's a camera shyness, but other people, like if it's a Comicsgate thing, they have Comicsgate people have been hassled. There's like that umbrella guy who has had his people have messed with him, they're going to try to get you fired or whatever because they don't agree with your politics. And the politics are just not even that severe. It's just you're not into the latest new politics of whatever current thing is going on. So some people don't want to have their jobs called and stuff like that. And some people are just shy. I think for the most part, it is good to just say who you are, and have your face out there. And it doesn't mean you have to give your address out to everybody. But, it is funny, though, because, some YouTube people, they're just they're critical of the whole woke culture. And, there's this girl, Nerdette's Newsstand. She'd be good to have on sometime if you can get her on. And she was critical of Zoe Quinn. And it's just she's some social justice girl that's writing a lot of comics now, whatever. And just critical of her comics. And she had people threatening her and trying to come to her house and everything. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think it goes back to it. I mean, we are making comics, but this is also social media. And you really do. I think some people just are not comfortable with the thought that, okay, if I accidentally say something wrong, if I have too many drinks and I go on a stream and I say something wrong, I don't want people showing up at my house knocking over my mailbox. I don't want people, I think that's more of, because it is social media, and I'm sorry, I hate that it's like that, but there are some crazy people out there. There are crazy people in the world, and a lot of them like social media. So I don't know. For me, I was just okay, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do my thing, but I'm very careful about my husband's. He's a musician, and I won't tell anybody the name of the band that he plays for.
Oh, the name of the band is. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up. And I'm very private about my family and my children, but again, it's not for any other reason other than I'm looking out for them. If they want to, if I say something that somebody finds wrong, because it can be something as simple as I don't like a movie. I didn't like a movie that came out, and there's people that go really crazy about stuff like that. So I guess that would be it. I know there's a lot of people that they just don't want the hassle of having to deal with that. If the time ever comes, they don't want to ever have to deal with it. But I do think that getting yourself out there, being you, being like, this is me, this is who I am, is the better way of doing it personally. But I completely understand for those that don't want to. I totally get it.
Yeah, Billy had problems because he was on Ethan's show, I think, twice. I think I assume you know that story, Nile. And somebody threatened Billy Tucci.
Yeah. Actually, no, that wasn't for being on his show. It's something he posted.
Oh, it was a comment he made.
Posted something. A
reply
he did.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, there was something like that, and then but that person that was threatening, he had threatened many professionals in the industry. So once his comments go through,
Billy.
Yeah.
So I think that people get really nervous about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if any of us who do show our face, if we had one bad experience as a result of this, who knows? We might regret it and be like, well, what the hell did I get involved in this thing for?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I woke up one time to, we did a show, and the next morning I woke up and I had 190-something tweets. And I was like, wow, our show really blew up. This is great. But it went in the other direction. And I was like, are you kidding me? What is all this shit about? And we had just done like our 18th episode, and we were being drilled as something, and I got pissed. I got pissed, and I was like, are you kidding me? And I was looking, I was like, you've never watched my show. You've never watched my show. You've never watched my show. And they're like, oh, you only have this, this, and this. And then I was like, okay, so out of the 21 guests, 18 of them have nothing to do with what you're accusing anyone of. So where's your issues here, and all that stuff. And it died right after that day. I never heard anything since.
Yeah, it's just a mob. It's just a whole mob mentality.
Yeah, they get bored easy though, and then move on to something else. But I do think that again, it's social media. And most of us that were growing up as social media was actually blowing up. We got the speech. Don't tell people your names. Don't give people your addresses. There's they're going to come and kidnap you, and so. Yeah, we grew up with that mentality of, if you're online, me though, I was just kind of like, all right, I'll do it. I'm doing this.
It just depends on how much candy's in the van, And then I'm like, all right, you don't seem too bad.
Much candy
exactly.
Snickers,
wow.
bro? You got Snickers? I'm coming.
You got Snickers and Milky Way back there? All right, let's go. So that would be what I think. Now, I do, again, I think that us that actually do get on camera and are willing to put themselves out there, I think that is better. And, I saw Peter write in the chat, typically they don't try to dox you if you're not hiding who you are. They already know who you are. It almost seems like it makes them a game for them. If you're kind of like, okay, I don't want nobody to know. It's like, oh, a secret. Okay? And then they try to, but I don't know. I mean, I get why people do it. I don't recommend it, but I do totally understand why somebody would be those crazies.
Particularly if for women have to always be extra careful wherever they are, whoever they're talking to, whatever they're doing, because they're preyed on more. Women and children, they are preyed on more. So people should be careful. And also, if someone is under the age of 18. I haven't seen a lot of that around in Comicsgate or whatnot, publishing, seems like everybody's at least 22 or whatever. But they should think twice and be careful. And there are weirdos around Comicsgate every now and then, and there are dangerous people in the world,
Yep.
So you have to think about that too. I always used to think of it that way too, is that, we go to public school. So in my high school, I graduated my high school. But out of my high school, what percentage of those people wound up being arrested for doing something bad? I don't know. I never was. But, everybody goes to public school at some point. So we all have probably met and known a lot of strange people. So like anything else, just have to be a little bit cautious. But if you're passionate about it and you're 18 plus, then I think I agree with Mandy and Nile. Like, you got to try to put your face out there and just be comfortable with it. If you really have something to lose, or if you're married and your significant other really wants you to keep this separate private life, of course you have to respect your family.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Or if you have this other very important career that could be threatened because of some controversy, or you're not supposed to have a side job, or something, or you don't want, your boss might be looking at you and they may want you to have 110% focus on your work. They're not paying you to publish comics on the side and act funny on streams.
Yeah.
So you have to consider that too.
Yeah.
That's true, man. That's true. Well, I appreciate you guys, discussing some of my questions. So I'm curious. I see a lot of stuff. I'm friends with so many people, and I see, again, my whole motto, which, I kind of, with Billy doing his thing was, hashtag no fan left behind. And I truly feel that way. I think if a fan's a fan, you don't have to be a part of anything or feel you have to be a part of something to enjoy something. And, I do appreciate you guys letting me ask these questions.
I'll tell you one thing as someone who's trying to make these freaking books and make them as good as we can. I know Mandy feels the way I do, that the Comicsgate people, the other public, the fans are amazing. The customers are amazing.
Yes.
The people that are helping us make these books and promote our books, at no payment to them, no debt to them, anything like that. They're helping us like brothers and sisters, just helping us get our stuff done and keeping us encouraged and asking us what we think of their work. And that environment, to be able to make books with other people, it's a great part of what makes this fun to do.
Yeah,
it makes it productive. So I want to see Wyatt's next book after Ardana. I know he's got some Rocket Girls coming out with
that.
I mean, and these guys keep asking about my projects too that I'm doing, and I'm like, God, these guys are actually sincerely interested in my future projects. That's great. It's fun.
Yes, very. It's very, very fun for those who may be thinking about making a comic and getting involved. Don't let us scare you. It is fun. It is ridiculous. Like every day I wake up and I get on Twitter and I'm talking to people about all kinds of nerdy stuff that I love that I don't have. There's nobody around me to talk to about this stuff. Nobody wants to talk to me about New Mutants. Nobody does. Nobody around me anyways. None of the girls, none of the other moms at the school want to sit there and talk to me about comic books and D&D and stuff like that. I have to sit there and talk about mom stuff. So for me, this is like a freaking blast. I have made so many friends that it is just, and one day we're going to all meet up and we're going to go and have a couple of drinks. It's going to be a blast. And it is. Yeah. It's really.
Crowdfunding con.
Yes. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, don't let us scare you with that. Seriously, it is like the scariest and the funnest thing you could possibly do is jump into this and make your own comic book. It's fun.
And you can just get started by following us on Twitter. Mandy, you're at Mandy Summers, right?
At Wart the Wizard.
Oh, you're right. At Wart.
Somebody took it. Somebody already had it.
How dare they?
I know, right? Some producer.
Well, you could do the real Mandy Summers. Maybe that'll be another one.
Maybe.
On
look it up now and
We
get
Love.
Right.
I'm at Comics We Love. Just, you can follow us. You can follow the other people that we follow. We'll follow you back, probably. Other people will follow you back. You can retweet. You can like. If you're shy, you don't even have to say anything. If you're that shy, you don't even have to retweet. Just observe. But you can comment. You can get involved very easily. And then you can kind of see as time goes, how much more involved you're ready to get. And, it took me a while to start getting involved with publishing with guys. I knew people for about 3 or 4 months at least before I started publishing. And I think it was more like maybe even 5 months or so. It took a while. But I was ready to do it and we went for it.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome.
Get in the game. That's what we say now, right?
Just that's it. Just do it.
Yep.
Go in. I mean, it's funny, too, because Billy harasses me all the time. He's like, you working on your book? You working on your book? I'm like, yeah, because I'm so secretive about it right now that I've only
It's gonna be awesome.
tiny little snippets, But I did, what was it, Sunday? I think it was Sunday or Monday. No, it was Monday. I was like, all right, man, I'm letting you in. This is what I have going on. And I think it's going to be good, man. I'm hoping. And
No, it is.
It'll be good.
We'll get ready.
It's always better when it's done. It's
Exactly.
that love having written thing.
Exactly. And that's like, you ever like, you're creating something and all of a sudden, I was just driving, right? And I had this idea and it like changed the script completely. And I was like, I'm going down this road. And it just flooded and I just wrote. And basically like rewrote everything I already had laid out. And having to draw the concept. So everything's
save it all.
piled up
Save it
there.
all. It comes back in different pieces in different places.
Oh, exactly. So, yeah, everyone, if you want to do it, just jump in and do it. Who cares?
Yep.
Even if you don't want to do it anyway.
Yeah, just do it anyway.
Yes. And if you want to get in touch with me, just at me. Just be like, hey, check out my campaign. That's all you got to do. I'll check it out. I got time. time.
And if you want to be a guest on our show, email at crowdfundingcomics@gmail.com and we'll review your product. And also, you know what I've been getting a lot in I don't know, some people are actually sending me PDFs of their books. I've
gotten some of those. I have gotten some of those too.
We are more than welcome.
I have to say, I got a book, Six Gun Gorilla, recently.
Oh, cool.
Y'all, if y'all haven't backed that book yet, back that book. It is awesome. I finished it. I finally got the kids down one night and I was like, okay, I'm going to finish it. And he had already done the stream. I'd only got to read like maybe 20 pages before. And so after the fact, I sat down one night. I had my phone, and I was like, it was amazing. It's such a good book. Yeah. So there you go. I wanted to go in and shout out for him. That was awesome. Yeah, that was an awesome book.
It's really good.
And now, Adam, College of the Dead, that's still in demand?
It's still in demand. It's on Indiegogo right now, and we just didn't. We probably can still deliver before Christmas. It's getting a little close. Oh, look at that picture of me on it. That's great. Yeah, that illustration of me was done by Weeping Angel, also Nella Possessed on YouTube. That was very cool of her to do.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah. I had to put it on the promo. I had like the image of you, and I was like, that's not
that
fun.
may be my profile pic. I'm thinking of, I got to put that character in one of my comics universes. Yeah. Adam with the hair. Yeah, so College of the Dead, it is finished. Now that is the black and white graphic novel. It's been shipping. That ash can is the making of book. That's also available on there. And there's also the art book that's 8.5 by 8.5, and that's like 240 pages. That's one panel per page in the art book. Yeah, and it shows the art like at full size without any lettering on it. So it's very cool. We've gotten some very good feedback on that too. But the main book is the graphic novel, and then the ash can is the 100-page additional, like, making of book, which I wasn't sure if that would look great when it got done, but it's kind of like made it as a mock-up and then looked at it and like, it's a damn good book.
Yeah. And
we've got nice feedback on it.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Yeah, you should get so if you're thinking of going in February, man, you should let us know. And we'll just block off a slot, whenever you think you're going to, like maybe a week.
Yeah, all right.
You got like a window of like, between this date and this date, if you want to send me a message when you get it figured out.
I'll have it to you by the morning. I'll be like, yeah, let's block out the time. Because I actually didn't wind up getting to be on Crowdfunding Comics when I launched book 1. And book 2 is going to be off the hook, freaking amazing. The coloring is coming out really, really good. She's taking her time. We'll have it ready mid-January, maybe third week in January. And then I know I'm just so psyched to be able to deliver the books as soon as we do the campaign.
Yes.
These books were so close to done when I offered them in College of the Dead Book 1 that I was thinking of actually shipping the books before the campaign ended to kind of freak people out a little bit. And just be like, wait a minute, the campaign didn't even end. I got my books already? But there was some finishing touches, and I was like, all right, we'll just ship it like a normal person instead.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, though, is as soon as I keep my promise, I get to see all those awesome pictures of people saying, hey, I got my book, and they show you the picture of the book.
Yes.
Like, you're going to love that, Mandy, when they have Wart the Wizard.
Oh, I know.
It's such an incredible feeling. Somebody, Mike Murphy, sent me a picture of his absolutely gorgeous little son. Maybe you saw it today. He's like 2 years old, super adorable, and he's like reading College of the Dead upside down or something like that.
I saw that. That was funny.
Oh, you saw it too. He's like, oh my God, that is such an amazing thing. And I just love getting all those pictures. So it's like as soon as you ship the book, you're further along. You can go on and do your next thing. You can keep moving things forward. And for me, I want to do College of the Dead as an ongoing series, not necessarily monthly, but like ideally quarterly, if not every 6 months.
Yeah.
Same with the Mermaids. We'll see how it's received. I think people will really like it. And then same with G.I. Jackrabbits, I'm going to have to do on a regular basis because I absolutely love that series. It's really, really cool. The G.I. Jackrabbits is like one of the coolest things I ever did. And it's odd that that was the first thing I wrote, stopped writing, and then now I'm writing it again with Michael.
Well, now that I think you sent me an image on that. Do I have that?
The cover of G.I. Jackrabbits. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that came up.
Now that was recolored by Kyle Ritter in February of this year.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with this series like all over again because the original drawing was very good. It was black and white, but it was the 1980s, so everything was flat color. You couldn't do anything rendered. So this is all like wild 3D explosions and gorgeous color, and the interior will be like that.
I love that already.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody it gets a chuckle out of people just have a real positive feel to it. And there are going to be multiple covers for that one as well too. But it's not going to be just a G.I. Joe parody. It's going to be, a fully developed, very cool concept. There are going to be themes about family, themes about humanity and how we treat each other. There's going to be it's going to kind of feel like a Fantastic Four. The way the Ninja Turtles are kind of a core group of four. We're going to be a little bit more serious than they are, though we'll definitely have some of our silliness elements in there. But the G.I. Jackrabbits are going to be competing with one of the characters of the G.I. Jackrabbits, one of the rabbits that breaks away and wants and doesn't feel like that animals should be working for the military. There's going to be kind of like a Magneto X-Men thing as well. Mm-hmm. So it's really funny because as I was starting to develop this, and I was first working on it with James Hudnall again. Then unfortunately James Hudnall passed away last year. He's a classic writer for comics, super talent. And as I was developing it with him, I was kind of like, I agree with the guy who broke away from the Jackrabbits. So I can kind of see it from both points of view. Mm-hmm. Whereas that wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be more of a clear villain. Magneto's a bad guy. But it's but Magneto kind of has a point. Maybe mutants shouldn't be treated the way mutants are treated. So there's a lot more development to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're having an incredible time with it. We did these detailed character descriptions. The character designs are out to the artists now because we know what they look like, but I kind of want to update them and revise them a bit. There's going to be alien technology involved, which is how we're going to create the G.I. Jackrabbits. So they're going to be in our world, mm-hmm. but they're going to be genetically modified creatures in our world.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
It's awesome. Going to be great. I love it.
Awesome. Man, I feel appreciative. So if you guys don't mind, I got a quick crowdfunding call out for tonight. This is from Jamie Tyndall. If you guys are familiar with White Widow, he has his White Widow art book volume 8 out, which they just launched a couple days ago. He's obviously already made goal. They're looking for 10,000 for their goal. They're currently at 18,239.
Wow.
Definitely, this character of his, White Widow, has definitely really picked up steam. I mean, go to conventions and stuff. People are cosplaying her and some of the characters from the story. I mean, this is really a really cool character.
I've actually got a couple of those.
Do you? Yeah. So
yes.
I'm talking about that.
Yes, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, amazing art by amazing creators. A few of these variant covers he has were done by some of our past guests on the show. So definitely awesome stuff. And he's kind of doing that thing. It's become almost every 6 months to maybe once a quarter. He's really starting to get the White Widow books out there. and you know, I think he's really starting to turn around the shipping time on them as well. So,
That's
so let's
fantastic.
give a shout out. If it's something you guys are into, please check it out. It is currently live right now on Kickstarter.
Cool.
So, Mandy,
Very
Adam,
lucky.
thank you so much for
Thank
coming on the
you.
show tonight. Really excited for you know, the next saga in the College of the Dead series. So yeah, send me over
Yes.
when you want to block that off, and we'll get you set up for that. Adam.
I appreciate that. I'll get that done in the morning. Absolutely.
Yeah, and keep us in the loop with anything. And you know, I'm sure down the road I may need another special guest host if you'd like to jump back on. Adam, you were my
Yeah,
first.
you know,
ever,
you got me anytime.
my
We had a lot
first
of fun
ever
doing
guest
that.
host, Adam Post.
The post host.
The post host. And Mandy, thank you so
Absolutely.
much for filling in for the Tooch.
No problem. I hope Billy brings me back a T-shirt from that Cher concert.
They're probably like $100. Do you think?
Oh.
I know they probably are. I wouldn't even want to know how much the merchandise is at that concert. Honestly,
Oh yeah.
it's like you pass by and they got like $40 for like a kid's shirt. You're like, oh hell no.
It's
We'll
insane.
take that, and he's also in Manhattan, I think. So it's like
Ooh,
a
even
hamburger
more.
is like $80.
Right? Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the fact it's New York prices too, and city New York prices.
The New
So
York prices are like ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
yes,
That's horrible.
yes.
It's horrible. The whole Northeast is horrible. Everything's
Yeah,
fucking expensive.
let's get a panel going with Tucci one of these days. We'll have some fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, guys. So thanks so much. And so tomorrow night we've got the Super Looper back on, and another creator that he's worked with, and we're going to be talking about his new project. And I will pull up our little snapshot of that for everybody, if I can just get that over here. So talk amongst yourselves, because for once Nile is not prepared with his image.
You're
All right,
always
well,
prepared.
I will do a little quick plug. Friday night, everybody, make sure y'all come to my channel. John Malin will be there again, and we will be talking to Literature Devil and also Mike Murphy about their books. So, yeah, tomorrow night is... No, wait, that's not tomorrow. Friday night or Thursday. I don't know what day of the week it is. Friday night, everybody make sure y'all come hang out with me, John, Peter, and Wyatt, and, yeah, Literature Devil and Mike Murphy. It'll be fun.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Super cool.
Make sure to
And I'm
tag
at
us
Adam
in.
Post. My YouTube channel is Adam Post Speaks. Go ahead and subscribe. I do some pretty cool videos there. We do some live shows occasionally. Not with John Malin just yet, but one of these days we will see. But Mandy's show is great. John Malin is great. Peter is great. Wyatt, all those people are great people. Really, really worth your time. Make sure you subscribe to Mandy's channel and Crowdfunding Comics.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. And me and Billy have to finalize our appearance on the Mandy Summer Show.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's gonna be a blast.
That's gonna be fun.
Wait till it's gonna be so much different than yours because you have everything like pretty much scheduled and everything's organized. I'm showing up and stuff isn't working and I'm not on time and I got Pete, are you coming? Like getting all annoyed at me because people are waiting. I got people in the chat yelling at me like, seriously? Serious? Like that, yeah.
Isn't it funny though? I love that. I'll get it like someone's like, oh, Nile needs a wall of clocks. I'm like, bro, we're
like
4
party.
minutes late. It's fun. Chat. Talks amongst yourselves.
It doesn't bother me because usually when I'm late, I'm like 20 or 30 minutes late. But I am a mom, and sometimes those little rascals will wrap themselves around your legs, and you literally have to like try to kick them off of you to come outside to do it. And it's like, guys, you've got to go to bed, and they're like, no, we're not going to bed, and you're like, no, you're going to bed. So yeah, I get caught up with the kids often. Yeah. They're harassers.
That's how it goes.
It's tough. And so yeah, everyone. So tomorrow night we've got John Hervey and Rod Looper. So I put his. I'll be changing his last name here for him. But they have the Black Tiger Legacy of Fury. We've posted this up a few times. It's a crowdfunding call out. Beautiful artwork, amazing book. It's gonna be a lot of fun tomorrow night, and we're really super pumped to have Super Looper back on the show. This is an awesome day.
Nice.
Yes. John and Rod are they're amazing. I love those guys. They were on with me not too long ago, and it was so much fun.
Yes. So we're looking forward to that too. So everyone, we will see you tomorrow at 9. Again, Adam, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for
It's
always
great being
supporting
with
our
you.
channel. And Mandy, as always, again, thanks for being a great part of our team and being a part of some of the stuff we do, even though you've got all your amazing things going on as well. So as always, guys, thank you so much. We love you both. And you know what? Everyone have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Thanks, you
So
guys.
long, everyone. Thank you. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into Crowdfunding Comics. We look forward to hanging out with all of our crowdfunding fans every time we go live. And don't forget to click the link below and subscribe to our channel. And there's a little bell, you may want to hit that too. This way you get all the great notifications when we go live and when we upload some awesome content. You want to follow us? Sure, go right ahead at Twitter at CrowdfundComics with an X, Instagram Crowdfunding Comics, and Facebook at Crowdfunding Comics. Till next time, crowdfunding fans, we'll see you soon.